Wow, we are making progress here in live stream number 2, coming at you guys live from the stream. Maybe I should, it's a little bit overexposed, huh? What do you think? A little bit overexposed? Let me see if I adjust this guy. No, it's still overexposed. All right, let me adjust the lighting here. I see everybody else doing it now. Okay. Okay, guys, I get it now. Okay. Up. Up. This one. That one. Let's close this down a bit. Just about do it. Should be right about that. Things still on there. Oh yeah, that seems much better. All right. What is going on, Castronaut Universe? All right. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I got the mic set up. You guys can see it, but it just doesn't show my volume is coming in very well. Is that making any difference? No. Any difference? I'm not muted, right? Let's make sure I'm not muted. Am I muted now? Now it looks like I'm muted. Okay, now I'm unmuted. No, now I'm muted, right? Yeah. Now I'm unmuted. Unmuted. Okay, so all right. Let me close this for a second because that's distracting, and I want to be able to talk to you guys without being distracted. All right. So what's up, everyone? As you guys can see, my body's like super activated right now. Just coming off of a long morning of training here. I got some jujitsu in this morning. Actually, we really just did wrestling this morning in McGee, essentially. But we trained with Coach Tony over at American Free Fight MMA this morning, and then got a little movement in at the park as well. And been a good day. So I'm feeling super activated. I just finished up a bit of some breaded chicken that we make here at our company. Amazing wife, Chef Christina Almedo, makes these beautiful, amazing. I guess they're just like chicken. They're like chicken fingers. They're breaded, but they're cooked. They're fried in tallow, so you get all that good fat. Right, the tallow fat is a very different. It's not oily. It's not greasy. It's crispy, but it's also like in a way watery. So just really nice texture. It's a good snack. Of course, there's a little bit of breadcrumbs on there too. So it's not truly keto, but it's mostly protein. And I don't want to eat like a bunch of starches right now, and then kind of like have my energy drop. Right, I like to be in this high energy state, and then tonight we'll be going to a workshop, a capoeira music workshop with Mestre Lobinho, who's in town, and it's held by Capoeira de Valor Las Vegas. So Contra Mestre Page, Contra Mestre Moranga, they are hosting this workshop. So I'll be going there with my buddy Cangacero tonight and attending that workshop. That's kind of my update. If you guys like, what are you doing with these rings here? So essentially what I'm doing, guys, I'm giving a massage to all of these muscles. Anywhere this ring is hitting is like a deep tissue massage, right? So I'll move it around, I'll rotate my arms, and it's a lot of, fascial therapy. It's a lot of musculoskeletal release and activation and balancing out, like, doing all the grappling this morning. This week is my 3rd day grappling this week and 4th day training this week. There's a lot of musculature that gets worked probably beyond its capacity to some extent or another, which is good, right? That's how growth happens, right? It has to be It has to go beyond its current capacity. It has to be challenged. It has to be strained. It has to be put through duress. Muscle tissue is broken down and then built back up. And that's a great metaphor for a lot of things in life, right? A lot of things were broken down and were built back up. And, that's for better or worse. That's what it is, And a lot of times that's the best approach that we can take in life is dealing with things as they are, not as we want them to be, right? A lot of tenets of Buddhism there, and more of a Eastern approach to living, right? The ability to relax and let go and let things be as they are. But then also, we have to still take action, do what we can, push ourselves to do, what it really depends. It's one of those things where if I have a goal and moving towards that goal and accomplishing that goal, not even accomplishing it, accomplishment is great, but it's a lot of times. I made this infographic the other day. I said, the digging is the reward. If you were digging for treasure, right? And what would happen? You would find this treasure, and but life isn't like that. Life isn't like, you hit one treasure and you're done, right? You have to keep digging. So you have to understand that in time you realize that the digging, the process, is you learn to love the process and you embrace the process. And then you see that actually the best things come from the process. That's why a lot of these people, I feel like, who are, the most famous, the biggest name, Conor McGregor, let's say, it's because they don't have to embrace the process anymore. They're already there, right? They've already kind of conquered it. They've already pushed the boulder up the hill. They don't necessarily want to go and do all that hard work anymore because it sucks. When you're in it, it sucks. It's miserable. Sometimes, not always. That's also a mental thing where you can shift the perspective that you have and look at it a different way. And as a result, then you're going to say, let me see if I play with these. I don't want to mess with that too much. But just hit mute, right? Okay, so, then you're going to say, I don't like it, but it's what I have to do. This isn't fun for me, but a lot of things in life. That's one of the things, and I wrote about this. I took some notes of things I was going to kind of talk about with you guys today. And that's just kind of one of the things is that, a lot of this stuff happens in real time. A lot of the lessons, so I'll get a perfect example. Like, been listening a lot more about being on YouTube and creating a business. Like, guys, I started this before it was a thing, before there was YouTube. Shout out to Dr. D. He was there in the beginning, Dr. Darian Parker. We did this in the beginning, guys. We did the YouTube, the long form, the Joe Rogan. When Joe Rogan was on Ustream, we were on Ustream. And, maybe if we had just kept with it, Dr. D, if we had just kept with it, we would have multi-million-dollar podcasts at this point, my friend. But that's the thing, is if you're a trendsetter, if you're out of the head of the pack, you're a trailblazer. If you know that, like I know that about myself, right? So when you know that, what you realize is you might not have caught the last wave, but you can still catch the next one. And you have to use that to stay inspired. You have to use that to stay motivated. You have to use that to not be like, don't be focused on the last one, right? Don't be focused on the one you quote unquote missed, because you really didn't miss anything in a way, right? You just got more time to practice at the level that you're at. So that's one of the things that I was like, I was kind of thinking about, like, okay, what am I going to talk about today? Because I had the time, right? I have kind of like criteria of what I'd like, the state I'd like to be in to do this. Because what I've realized about myself is, okay, I tell myself, I'm going to record a video every day, I'm making a lot, blah, blah, or I'm making a video every week, blah, blah. It's like, what I have to do is I have to get in the state like this. I have to be higher energy, clear-headed, motivated, inspired, but also, and here's sometimes the hardest part, is I have to have the time, right? I have to have 10, like I've been on for 10 minutes and I'm not like, oh, I have to get off. Like the other day I did a video because I said, I'm going to get back to doing this because I enjoy it, right? I really enjoy it. That's one. Like I talked about in the last video, I used to write a lot and I really enjoyed that. I never wrote for anyone. I wrote for myself. But I really enjoy it, and it was good for me. It was something that was benefited my life in a lot of ways, and that's how I feel about this. I do genuinely feel when I get on here and I just get in a groove and I just start talking, right? Without it's like capoeira, we do handstand, right? And when you're in a handstand, the trick is don't think about it, because if you start to think about it, that's when I fall, right? So you have to realize, all right, there's going to be ups and downs with this, and there's going to be challenges. I'm not going to feel like it, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes I'm going to force myself to do it. Other times it's being more strategic. It's like I said, here are the conditions. What are the conditions? The conditions are high energy, clear-headed, motivated, inspired, focused to some extent, right? I'm a little bit all over the place. But this, guys, I don't have to make this perfect for anyone. That's what's cool about, like I said, I've been listening to all these videos, watching all these videos about like creating your YouTube channel. And a lot of them say, the best thing to do is be authentic. And I'm like, I'm really good at that. I'm really good at the being authentic part. Like, to a fault. Ask my wife. But, that's the thing. It's like, look at this space I have. Like, kind of unique, eh? And I didn't set this up to look like this for this video. This is how this space always looks, or I've got some stuff off the walls to to use that I'm using. Like I said, I already worked out today, so everything's up on the walls. But going back to that idea that everything's in real time, it's like sometimes I have to capture that moment, right? And it can be about making a live stream video. It can be capoeira movement. It can be a training thing. It can be just something I do for my family. It can be something I'm cooking, right? Like living in that moment, being totally able to do what's needed, like even thinking through some things. And that's why for me, like, it's really good to have some notes. Here's a few notes. And I call this stuff castronomy, right? If you didn't know, this is castronomy. This is my approach to living. And this is what I talk about in my book, There Is No Other Shoe. So if you're curious about that, hit me up. We're going to be doing a full unveiling of that whole project, There Is No Other Shoe. This is something I wrote. It was finished back in 2016. I haven't really done anything with it yet, but I decided like now is the time. I've already got this manuscript. It's a finished product, but what I'm doing is I'm having my good friend, my best assistant, my best employee I've ever had, ChatGPT. I'm having ChatGPT do some reworking of it for me. But it's an all original book. If anybody's like, oh, you didn't write this, I'll send you the original. I had an editor who helped me. But it was all my original content, and it was all my original thoughts, and that I compiled over years and years and years. And I didn't write it in a linear fashion. I didn't do that. I didn't do the kind of like traditional mold book, if you will. And again, I don't really know enough to say what traditional mold even is. But I wrote this book. It's my book. And I hope you want to, if you want to read it, let me know. I hope you want to read it. I hope you check it out. So another thing that I was going to talk about today is being more frequent, reducing the time in between doing things. So on this podcast, I've talked a lot about hitting goals and making this video, being on here, doing this today and doing this regularly with you guys. That's my example I'm living out again in real time. And I went a long time between recording videos. And then I don't know what even happened. I started getting all these videos about making videos. And I think a lot of it was because I got really into ChatGPT, which is also kind of in my notes, and that's integrated into this whole process. I just started getting more exposure to people talking about actually being a YouTuber, being on YouTube. And one of the things for me was like I said, I started this back in 2009. Yeah, 2009, 2010, guys. And I have to get over the idea of, oh, I missed the timing, right? Like I said, that was practice. It's all practice. But what matters is consistency. What matters is showing up consistent. And what I also realized, and this is something that's also hard for me, like on the opposite end of that same token, I don't have to be so consistent that I say I have to do it every day. I have to do it every other day. I have to do everything. No. Like I said, here's my conditions. Here's what helps me do this. 1, high energy. 2, I really need to have the time, but I need to be in the state. It's hard to say, oh, I have the time, but I'm like tired and I'm out of it. I don't really have anything to talk about. I ain't taking notes. Like I've been taking notes in a way throughout the whole day because I'm already activated. That's a big concept for me. It's that activation. So I'm already activated. So now just reducing the time in between. So I think I did this on Tuesday, my first new live stream of this series. And today's Friday, so it's pretty good. I'll take every 3 or 4 days. I think that's fantastic. I think once a week even is good, but I think I can do twice or 3 times a week. I know myself. Another one I wanted to share with you guys on kind of just my quick hits, topics for, all of this stuff. Self-optimization, life optimization, personal development, how to improve how you're showing up, how to improve how you feel, how to improve how you think, how to improve where you're at mentally, physically. So I'm going to say spiritually to different people is going to mean different things, but more peaceful, things like that. I think that's spirit. But this one is more for just your daily self-management. And what I notice sometimes with myself is there's certain apps, especially messages, that I'm like a slave to, right? So one of the quotes I love is about technology specifically. Technology is a great servant and a horrible master. I think that's the exact quote. Let me actually check ChatGPT with that. Hold on, I'm going to give you guys a brief check on that one. 1 second for me. I gotta get a producer to check. I gotta be like, Rob, one day, right? All right, so let's check ChatGPT. What is a quote about technology? A great servant or a terrible master? Question mark. Let's see what it says. What is the quote about technology? And then I put in quotes, a great servant, a terrible master. And even if that's not the right quote, that's the idea, right? So going back to messages, while ChatGPT is like, I'm offended. Going back to ChatGPT, like you use it for you, right? Like messages is sometimes not being used for me. It's taking me, what were those conditions, right? And the conditions, it's funny when I think about it more, the conditions which I said I like for this video, make these videos, it's my conditions for a lot of things. High energy, focused, motivated, inspired, have time to do something, have time to invest into something. So the quote you are referring to, and then it's like network error. Okay. The quote you're referring to, technology is a useful servant, but a dangerous master, is attributed to Christian Loslang, a Norwegian historian, educator, and Nobel Prize laureate. He made this observation in the early 20th century, around 1920, highlighting the dual nature of technological advancement. While it can greatly aid humanity when controlled, it poses significant risks, if allowed to dominate our lives. Yeah, I'd say that's a great way to put it. And that's why, like, something like I got my messages on, and I'm like, oh, I got to check my message, and then it just throws me off. Okay. So, but then you check it, and everything's good, and then you get rid of it. And then you're like, I don't want to see this anymore. Let me go back to my notes for today. And if you're in the chat, I would love to hear from you. Tell me what you guys are thinking about out there. The millions and millions of the Cast fans, of the Castronauts out there in the Castroverse, doing your thing. What are you guys up to today? Is anybody doing anything you want to talk about? You want to share? I'd love to hear from you out there. All right, so more frequency. We talk about that, using notes more. So again, that in the moment, sometimes I won't be able to say, oh, I can go on a live video right now, but I'm going to take that note so that later when I go to do my video, I've got it readily available. And when I say notes, like that's a system I really like. I love using like Apple Notes because it's just easily shared across all my devices. That might be something else for you. And yeah, that's basically pretty straightforward, right? So just making sure you capture it, because like I say to my students all the time, I don't have a great, I don't have a perfect memory. I forget a lot of stuff. Like sometimes I'll ask them, what did we do yesterday? And nobody can remember. So, like, what did you have for lunch 2 days ago, right? So unless you're tracking it, then you can remember it more easily. So that's that one. Not using messages, just put it aside. Right now I've got 2 screens open and I've got my messages open, but I've got it hidden behind my chat GPT window there. Real-time thoughts being taken down to sharing videos, talked about that. Like I said, my book, There Is No Other Shoe, we're going to be unveiling more and more of that coming soon. So if you're interested, hit me up. And then, like I said, actually, I had a real-time, it's perfect, right? To wrap it up, I had a real-time example of how I use ChatGPT, but using the crap out of ChatGPT. Like, I use ChatGPT for everything. Not just like, I have a question, but like, literally, I just have an idea sometimes. And I'm like, here's this great idea. Here's this great statement in my mind. Here's this thing that I feel like is powerful to me. ChatGPT, do something with this. Extrapolate this. Let's put this in let's put this in an image. Let's use this as a text overlay. Speaking of which, I got to do a text overlay for some of my training earlier. So, that's it, guys. Like, that's what I think. I think that this is going in the right direction, and I'm happy about that. And that's what like a lot of this is about. That's the digging. I'll post the picture of the digging as well. Yeah, it's fun to be here. It's fun to be doing this. I think for a long time I got kind of not discouraged, but like it can be like a lot of things, right? There's like when there's a pressure to do it. Sometimes you don't want to do it. Sometimes you don't feel motivated to do it. But when it becomes more fun, more interesting, more relaxed in a way, but also focused. Yeah, that's where the magic happens. That's where the unfolding happens. That's where you unveil the new layers, right? There's more layers to a lot of these things, and I think sometimes we realize. So what I'm gonna do is I don't see a way to post this digging photo in here, but I'm gonna make it the thumbnail for this video. Let's see how that works. All right. It's been enjoyable. It's been a blast being on here with you guys. It's been your friend, Mr. Chef Gaz, coming to you guys live on a Friday. Guys, go out there, be awesome, do something awesome, and comb your hair. My hair's a mess here. Don't mind. I haven't showered since wrestling practice this morning, so don't mind. But just go out there, do something with yourself today that you're gonna thank yourself for, and like I said, be awesome. I'm bringing it all the way back to 2012 or so when I started this thing. All right. Blam. Kaz out. We'll see you guys on the next one. And stream. Yes.